Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to work with creating a cut file in our Creative Drawing Simple Cut software. I'm going to click on the icon for that software, and it's going to open up and bring up a dialog box where it's going to ask us if we're going to create a new design or open an existing design. For today, we are going to create a new design, and before I do anything, I want to make sure that I turn on my cutter and make sure it's connected to my laptop. If you're using a wireless, you want to make sure that everything is working wirelessly so that you can just send your designs to your cutter when you are ready. I'm going to turn on my Artistic Edge 12 cutter. It is not wireless, so it has been plugged into my laptop as well. First thing I'm going to do is create a new file, and I'm going to press Next at the bottom, and it's going to bring up another dialog box. There are a couple, different theories on this. When I open up a new design and I'm creating a cut file, I like to have cut and embroidery selected because it gives me more options down the road and I don't have to go back and add a technique. It's just my preference. You could deselect embroidery by clicking on it, but I think that if I have you select both right now, it's a little easier to explain what I have to explain early on rather than adding another element in a future video segment. So for what we're doing, I want to make sure that you have selected cut and embroidery, and you do not have to select stencil, crystals, or paint. You can leave them black. And I'm just going to select create new design for simplicity. And this takes me to my working area. If we look at the screen right here, we have some menu options at the top. We have a couple toolbars up here, and we have a toolbar on the side. You can move your toolbars around, but I'm just going to leave them where they're at. I have my color palette down here, palette, however you want to say it. And the color palette has an arrow to the right here, and I can scroll through and see all the colors in my color palette. I'm going to go back to the beginning here. And over here you have your object properties dialog box. We don't have anything on the screen, so we have no object properties for our fill tool and no object properties for our outline. So what this is telling me is I don't have anything selected, or I don't have anything on the screen to work with. I'm going to import a symbol in my software. I'm not going to worry about getting a design from the internet because I want to make this simple for you. And I think that if you start simple and you have success, then venturing out and doing other things is going to be easier for you if you have the fundamentals down pat. So we're just going to be working with creating a cut file, saving it, and sending it to the cutter today. So I'm going to be using my tools menu. I'm going to click on that and drop it down, and I'm going to be working with a cut file created from our symbols that are built in to the software. So I'll click on Insert Symbol. It brings up a dialog box, and you will see over here it says Font. I can click on my drop-down arrow, and I can scroll through the many fonts that are in my software. And there are also symbols in some of these. Like I'm in Wingdings, you see a lot of symbols here. I know which one I use. I'm going to be choosing Wingdings 2. And I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to use the star. Now you can download fonts from the internet to add to your collection here, which is really nice. And I have done that, so you might have seen a couple selections of ones that aren't on yours yet, but we'll talk about that at the end of the Cutter Club class. The symbol I'm going to use today for the class is the star, so I'm going to click on that and click on Insert in the lower left-hand corner, and I'm going to see my cross on my working area. I'm going to click and hold my mouse button down and just draw a star. I'm not worried about the size right now. Once I have created the star, I'm going to let up on my mouse, and I am going to close out this dialog box. I don't want to add another symbol, so just close it out. And you will see, I'm going to scroll out just a little bit using my scroll wheel. I have my star on my working area, and it is also selected automatically. See how I have the handles and the bounding box, the blue bounding box around it. Also in the sequence manager, it brought up the tile. You can see the star right here, and if you don't understand the sequence manager right away, that's okay. We will explain it in a further video segment. Right off the bat, I can't tell you how important this is. Select your outline color and your fill color. because when you go to do something, if none of them has been selected, then you won't be able to do certain things and you're going to get confused as to why. So for example, if I click in my working area over here and deselect my star, notice that in my object properties box there is nothing there, and same with the outline tool. And then you want to work with this and you're like, well, why don't I see anything over here? Because you haven't selected your design and you haven't necessarily added a outline or a fill color. Sometimes you get into that situation and you're scratching your head for about 15 minutes with wasted time. So right off the bat, I'm going to select an outline color. Now you look at these paint chips down here in your color palette. The upper left-hand corner is going to be the outline color, and that's the outline of a box. The lower right-hand corner is going to be your fill color. So I'm going to give the outline of my star kind of like a burnt red or brown, and I'm going to give the inside, the fill, I'll make it green, okay? So you can kind of see the difference there. All right, so I have assigned an outline and a fill, and to create a cut file, we're going to be working with our fill tool. So you want to make sure that this is highlighted, that bucket tool right there. And you have 4 options right here: artwork, applique, net fill, and array. Well, if we're working with a cut file, we are working with an applique. So I'm going to click on the applique option. And this brings up a couple of selections here. I'm going to skip offset and fabric trim for now. And I want to click on cutter presets because that is really important. When I click on cutter presets, it's going to ask me what medium I want to use. And we are working with 2 for this class: fabric with Terrial Magic and fabric back with fusible webbing. So I'm going to choose fabric with Terrial Magic because that's what we're going to be working with first in class. And it's going to tell me what my cutter presets are or should be. The first 3 are automatically set by the software. Cutter speed is 50, cutter pressure 75, cutter passes is 1. We can use these arrows to increase or decrease those numbers. The last 2 are the ones that I control. So I'm going to have to actually go to my edge cutter, make sure my blade depth is at 4.0, and my blade color is yellow because yellow is your fabric blade. All right, so that's fine and dandy. I got that down. If I click on my pencil tool, and you don't need to do this for applique, but you're going to see something in regard to stitches. This is where we would create an embroidery design, but we're not working with that. We're just working with the fill tool for now. All right. Now, I clicked on my working area, deselected the star, okay, and I'm going to click on this again, and I'm going to get my handles around my star, and I'm going to show you how to change the size of the star because we're working with whatever we just, clicked and dragged when we first created our star. And if I look up here, the width is 2.675, the height is 2.631. I want my star to be, for example, I'm going to use 5.0. So I'm going to click on the width up here and type in 5.0, and I'm going to click on the height and make it 5.0. And now when I click on my star, I'll use my scroll wheel to zoom out, but it says 5.0 up here for width and 5.0 over here for the height. So it automatically changed the size of my star. All right. Now we are ready to save our file because we want to send this to the cutter. I have selected my cutter presets. I have the designated size that I want. And before I send it to the cutter, I want to save it. I always like to save my work before I do this. And I'm going to save it as star, let me type this correctly, star class sample. And I'll press save. Okay, so my file is saved. It's saved as a draw file. It's not an embroidery file, it's just a draw file for Simple Cut software. It's the language that the software understands. And I'm going to go to my file menu again, and I'm going to click on export. And you will see this brings up another dialog box, and you can export to a lot of places. You can put it on the internet in Dropbox if you have a Dropbox account. If you have a Janome machine, you can send it to your machines. You can send it wirelessly to the 15,000, but I'm going to choose the options for the cutters. So I'm going to select 2 cutters, and this is going to bring up a dialog box to select your cutter type. I am using the Artistic Edge USB 12. It's a USB connected cutter because I don't have the 15. The 15 is wireless. If you are using the 15, wait about 3 or 4 seconds. That option will appear in this area right here, and you would choose the Artistic Edge wireless icon. I'm going to press connect. And this brings up an export to cutter dialog box. Now, a couple explanations here. It told me, let's see, right down here, please insert yellow blade with depth of 4.0 into your cutter. Okay, it's telling you what your pressure should be, and your pass is 1. If you look over here, there is a trace option right here, and I highly recommend tracing your design before you actually cut your file. Then I also highly recommend doing a test, and then once we have done that, we're going to press our cut option and it will cut out your file. Now I want to tell you one important thing. Where your laser appears refers to your point of origin, and you can click here to change your point of origin. And this is something you have to pay careful attention to, because I've messed up my cuts when I haven't paid attention to this. If you want your laser to start cutting in the upper left-hand corner of your design, you're going to click this icon right here. And when you position the laser on your cutter, it's going to start cutting from this point. All right. Likewise, if you want to start at the center or the lower right or wherever you want, you're going to want to make sure that you understand that your laser is going to start at whatever point of origin you have selected right here. Believe me, I've made mistakes, so that's why I'm warning you. All right, I'm going to pretend we're sending it to the cutter, so I would select that cut option, and this is where we're actually going to stop this video segment now, and we're going to work with the hands-on portion of the Cutter Club class. Thanks for watching, and please refer to this video if you have any questions, or give me a call at the store and I'll try to help you through it. Thanks a lot.